Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome to the channel. Let's see what message the Spirit has for us today. Strength. So, on our spiritual journey, we need lots and lots of inner strength. And thankfully, we have it. Love is strong. So we know that if we align with love, if we align with God, then we are very strong. We also have the Holy Spirit within us to guide us all the time and see things differently, which is fabulous. So yeah, it also says compassion on this card. So yeah, our inner strength teaches us to be gentle and compassionate with ourselves, and to understand that, you know, we came into this world believing we had to conform to it, and that we had to play by the rules of the ego. But then over time we kind of figured out, actually, you know, it's just a trap. There's no way that you can succeed in this world without a considerable amount of help from divine guidance and sanity. It's just a complete trap. And the more wounded we get, the more distorted our perception gets, the more difficult it is to free yourself from the trap, because the external world outpictures whatever's in your mind. So if your mind gets worse, then your external experience gets worse, until you start to learn and take your power back. And quite often the people that suffer and struggle the most are the people that wake up first. So I've said this before, that the darkness serves the light, and we can only tolerate so much pain and so much struggle before we think, hang on a minute, there's got to be a better way. It's not possible that the Spirit really, you know, that God really put me in this world. It's crazy. It's clearly just an obstacle course from hell. So yeah. So with the world card talks about completion, fulfillment and unity. And so we're told that when we align our mind with unified awareness, that we'll feel satisfied and we'll feel whole. But that requires us to completely transcend the dualistic belief system. And we do this through forgiveness and non-judgment. And it works so well. In many other traditions, it says, empty the mind. And I know that I used to think, how do you empty the mind? What exactly does that mean? To some people it might make perfect sense to empty the mind, but to me it didn't. I see it more as a purify the mind, or align the mind with unified thinking, which comes from non-judgment, from seeing everything as it is, accepting everything as it is, and seeing everything as harmonious and one, and as everybody is innocent. And the Holy Spirit tells us that if we do this, our life will be different, and we will experience fulfillment and unity, because we're essentially lifting ourselves above all the problems of the world. And even though we may physically seem to be experiencing them, because our thoughts create our feelings, we can change everything from within our own minds, and the Spirit can make us see things differently so that we don't suffer. And every time we suffer, we remember that we have this available to us to heal. So we just crack on. And we know that when Jesus died on the cross, and everyone thought he was suffering, he wasn't suffering at all, because it's only guilt and fear that make us feel pain. Once we feel innocent, we no longer feel pain. So when Jesus was on the cross, he was not bothered at all. He was just, he was just free. He was completely liberated, because we're liberated at the mind level. And even though his physical body seemed to be harmed, he couldn't feel it. And he left the body and he came back to show us that this world is literally a dream, and that we come in and out of bodies in different lifetimes for fun. And he just came back to show us that the Son of God cannot die, and that we are all the Son of God. So that's a pretty radical teaching, but I love it. I think it's brilliant. to think that we can all reach that stage where we cannot physically feel any pain, because pain comes from guilt and fear and shame. So these spiritual teachings, they just kind of transcend our wildest dreams when it comes to healing and what we're truly worth, and it's a beautiful thing. So the Four of Pentacles is a card about, it says on here, security, control and stability. I think of the Four of Pentacles card as about being kind of very attached to the material, and that we have a lot of fear and that we don't trust, and we can be quite resistant to change and insecure. So yeah, we tend to want to control things because we feel fearful and we don't trust. We don't have that basic trust that the universe has our back, that the spirit has our back. And so we're always learning lessons all the time. And the devil is the part of us that is attached to the material and is completely ignorant to the divine truth. It's completely, the devil is essentially the ego. It's aligned with the separation consciousness or the separation belief, and it keeps us stuck. But we know that the devil is something we can free ourselves from entirely at the thought level by listening to the Holy Spirit, by unifying the mind again and remembering that we can transcend all the nonsense of the world. So the way out is quite surprising, I find, but also fabulous. Spiritual awakening is a strange process where we go from insanity back to sanity, but it's quite often viewed as the other way around. So as we start on our spiritual path, we look as if we're going insane, because we start to basically denigrate ourselves from the human perspective by letting go of all the trappings of the ego, all the things that we think we need, all the fancy everything that we get attached to. We just start to let go of it, because we start to see that whenever we attach to it, it makes us feel unsafe if we're going to lose it. Or if we try and seek our value in things, then whenever we lose them or we get bored of them, then we don't feel safe and we don't feel good. And eventually we figure this out and just want a different situation. So I need to move these cards over slightly if I want to fit another one in. So the Three of Pentacles is a card all about us collaborating with each other. And essentially we have to do this when we're awakening, because our brothers and sisters mirror our unconscious and subconscious stuff back to us. And when we're not awake, we blame them for being cruel to us and doing horrible things. But then when we awaken to the truth and we see that, oh, actually, they're actually showing me what's inside me that I can't see. So they play the mirror, and they do a service to me that I wouldn't be able to receive any other way. So we then flip the script on the ego, and we start to be grateful for what our brothers and sisters show us. Even though it can be painful, we start to see other people as helping us, and then once we start to see them in a grateful way, our external world and our experience starts to shift, and then we feel more safe to open up and trust. And then we feel more safe to collaborate. So yeah, the spirit knows what the spirit is doing with us, which is great. Nine of Pentacles. These cards are very tight. So the Nine of Pentacles is when we have a bit of a glow up and we just feel very radiant. We're very much in our own energy. We're very self-sufficient, and because we're no longer in resistance, we start to receive abundance from the universe, and then we can feel very safe and very cared for. But we've also developed that trust, but we're not hugely attached to the external. We just trust that external things will come in and out as and when we need them. And this brings us just like a confidence and the ability to relax and enjoy life. of Wands. So the safer we feel in the physical world, the more we feel free to explore. We feel more inclined to go after our dreams, and we trust that things will be met. So we feel very free-spirited, and then we're open to lots of new ideas and exploration. So the Page of Wands is very much a free-spirited and a youthful kind of adventurous energy, but also has trailblazing qualities to it, and has lots and lots of energy, and wants to initiate. And I think that, yeah, we feel as though we have the power to do that when we're aligned with the spirit, when we're dancing with the spirit. And the Sun is a really fantastic card about joy and success and vitality, but also about healing and just deepening and courage, and being, essentially just being aligned with oneness, being aligned with our spiritual path, being aligned with unconditional love. We've moved out, by the time we get to this stage, we've moved out of self-preservation. We're able to give back and really extend and expand our consciousness in a way that's great. And then quite often what happens is we tend to want to share this newfound abundance with others, and we lean back, and that's how we know that all real happiness comes from doing God's will. So when we lean back and help others, not only does it feel good, but it's aligned with our spiritual path. So we're helping other people as well, and it feels amazing. The Star is all about hope and inspiration and serenity, it says on here. The Star card talks very much about healing gradually, and that we're very much aligned with our source. So we have a lot of gratitude for our spiritual path, and for what we're taught, and for the things that our brothers and sisters teach us. And we're just filled with hope and optimism. We're very attuned to the signs and the symbols, and yeah, we just feel very aligned with our destiny. And that it's a really nice feeling to know that once we've aligned with God, and we know what we're doing, and that we trust that we've got the spirit with us at all times to help us, then we just feel more trusting. And it's a really nice, it's definitely a nice experience to go through life. And even when we inevitably experience challenging things, because we always do as we're growing, we just become more grateful for it and more accepting that it's part of our path, it's required, and that as long as we don't judge it and stay upset or stay in negative thoughts about it, then we move through our challenges faster. And the more we feel worthy, then the more we understand that something that seems challenging happens to us, that we don't need to analyze it or kind of bolster ourselves. We can just accept that we're worthy, and let the pain pass through. So we've got the Magician card and Death. The Magician card is all about creativity and power, and talent. And yeah, we feel as if we have free reign to use all our skills and abilities to create whatever we want. And that's a really nice feeling, to be able to create whatever you want, whatever ideas come into your head, and to involve other people. I think the Magician card is just, it's almost magical. It seems magical from our human perspective, that we can, just by aligning with universal truths and with love and with our higher mind, that we can literally bring anything that we want into form. And yeah, as we do that, we inevitably go through many transformations, as depicted by the Death card, where it seems like something ends, but then it transforms into something better. And we start to trust the process and think, almost become grateful for every time something falls apart, because it just means it's making way for something new, something better, a new challenge, something to help us heal more, something just to stop us from stagnating. And the more we trust the universe, the more we get excited about these kind of experiences. last card to come out beautifully is the Lovers. And this is a card all about love, harmony and relationships. And so not only do we end up in beautiful love relationships, but we also end up in really understanding the benefits of agape love and understanding that we can have love with absolutely everyone and everything. And it's our job to experience love and happiness with everyone and everything. And it's almost a joy to have interactions, loving interactions with everybody, because then it means that love is not limited in the way that we used to think it was, where we could only have love with certain people, with our family, our close friends. But we actually start to see that we can have loving interactions with everybody. And we can also see the harmony in the whole journey and how everything fits together. We get to see everything from a much higher perspective, which also fills us love for the beauty of the process and the spiritual journey. So yeah, we just keep rising higher and higher until the mind is completely healed, and then we can pop out of the dream and be back just in the unified mind, in our heavenly state. So yeah, I think this was a good reading today. I really enjoyed it. I hope you find it inspirational too. I love you all. Bye.